para que los comerciantes, los residentes y los visitantes disfruten y que pues caminen y lleven un estilo de vida más saludable que beneficie a todo el mundo.
Walkers and riders in the community will be able to come over to this sign, touch the location that they want to go, drag the map around and see where they are. Really just provide them a little bit more information about where they are and how to get to where they want to go.
What I really love about this project is it really provides options for a healthier lifestyle for those living in and visiting the areas by allowing them safe ways to travel, whether it's through access to our bike lanes and safer walking pathways in and around our major transportation hubs.
Each year, Filipino American history is recognized nationally during the month of October. As the third largest ethnic group in California, Filipino Americans have played a critical part in the history and culture of Los Angeles. Executive Director of the Bureau of Street Lighting, Miguel Sangalang, and Public Works Commissioner Jessica Caloza share their thoughts on the importance of Filipino American History Month.
Filipino American History Month means to me that we belong, that I belong. For California, there's been a shared history of Filipinos ever since the early 1500s, 1587, when Filipinos landed in Morro Bay 33 years before the Pilgrims. We have the largest community outside of the Philippines that is here breaking bread with us every day. So it's a real shared sense of belonging. Personally for me, as an immigrant, I came here when I was 5, lived in Los Angeles County ever since, and called this city my home, and am very proud to have contributed to it as well.
For me, this month is particularly special because we want to pay tribute to all of our amazing public servants here in the city of Los Angeles. And I just feel proud to be Filipina American, to serve as the first Filipino woman on the Board of Public Works, appointed by Mayor Garcetti and confirmed by City Council. And that's who I represent when I'm voting on items. And when I'm leading different initiatives, as I represent not just my community, Filipinos, but I represent Asian Americans, immigrants, people who don't speak English as their first language. And I think all of that really comes into play in October, and that's why I'm proud to celebrate it this month.
We've actually lit up a few different city assets, so namely LAX, which is the gateway between the east and west that was lit up in the colors of the Filipino flag. We had 2nd Street Tunnel that was also done in the same way, and now City Hall.
Filipinos have so much to contribute, not just in Los Angeles County and Los Angeles City, but in the entire country.
Later in the program, we will meet the first Filipino American to hold the office of California Attorney General. And the innovation plans to build back better in LA keep on coming. Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez and Los Angeles City Engineer Gary Lee Moore recently cut the ribbon on a new signage and grid system on the hiking trails at Hansen Dam. Take a look.
Today we've unveiled the completion of a grid and sign system that has been implemented here at Hansen Dam. Previously, when people had either injuries or had been on the trails, they weren't able to quickly identify what their location was because there was an absence of a grid system. This system is going to enable people that as they're on the trails, as they're meeting perhaps other family members where they might be catching up, they can disclose to them what their actual location is.
This new signage is really important for 2 reasons. One, emergency response. If I'm out there, I get a little confused where I'm at, or it's getting dark, or I see something, I can easily call in to the ranger station and say, look, I'm at E2 right now. Can you come and help me get back to my car, or get back with the family here? But a second one is, I think is kind of fun, is that these are long trails, 4-mile, 5-mile long trails. So I might want to do a 5-mile trail, you might want to do a 2-mile trail, but we could say, let's meet at 3 p.m. at marker E2. So it gives everybody an opportunity not just to meet at the beginning here at the ranger station, but to meet out in the trail.
This time of year it gets darker sooner. A typical family out here for a hike may find themselves hiking in the dark. Before these signs went up, there was nothing to label what trail they were on. where their location is. These signs are all GPS located.
As I'm continuing to bring resources, investing into developing this space, I want to make sure that we have the fundamentals taken care of, including making sure that we have this mapping and trail system that is a better way for people to feel safe and navigate this vast space in a manner that they feel comfortable.
Applying for college can be stressful, but don't worry. The Chinatown branch of the Los Angeles Public Library has a way of making it easier. They recently hosted a Q&A session with a local high school college counselor to ease all the students' fears and illuminate the crazy labyrinth of applying for higher education.
Lynn Wynn, our wonderful teen services librarian at the Chinatown Branch Library, is hosting a college Q&A session with Linda McGee, who is the college counselor at one of the local high schools, Downtown Magnets High School. And so really just giving another opportunity for teens, whether or not they go to that particular high school, to ask whatever they want to the college counselor.
I'm here hoping to meet some kids, not just from my high school, but also from the community, and talk to them about the whole college process and kind of ease their fears. I think there's a lot of fear out there about, can I get in? And they don't understand all the wonderful possibilities there really are.
Well, I learned a lot about financial aid, which is something that's really important to me. I also learned a lot about how I should be doing in high school to further make my application process easier and better for myself. Learning more about college from this event made me feel a little more confident about getting into that college.
When I was a student myself, my parents didn't go to college in the U.S., and so it was programs like this at my local library that really helped me get through the college application process. Not everyone's parents can afford to pay for these kind of services. My family certainly couldn't, and so it's really important for the library to be able to offer free programs for students to get more information on how to apply for college successfully.
He has worked as a deputy city attorney for the city and county of San Francisco, where he represented the city and county and its employees. And he has said that his passion for justice and fairness was instilled in him by his parents, who served on the front lines of some of America's most important social justice movements. In our feature story this week, Maria Hallbrown sits down with California's current Attorney General, Rob Bonta.
Well, as of April 23rd, I'm delighted to say that the state of California has a new Attorney General, and we have him here today to get to know him a little bit. I'm delighted to be joined by Rob Bonta. So nice to have you here.
Honored to be here, Maria.
What are the things that an Attorney General for the state of California can do for the state?
So I lead the California Department of Justice. We have both civil and criminal authority. One thing we do is we are the attorney for the state of California. Its departments, its agencies. We represent clients who are state clients. We also have independent authority where we can bring cases, civil cases against those who break the law and violate the law. And then we also have a criminal duty as largely in the appellate criminal role where we are defending the prosecutions from the trial court. So criminal, civil, trial level, appellate level.
You really have worked towards reform when you were in the state assembly. So now, as Attorney General, where do you see your priorities?
Right now, we're focusing a lot on taking on the forces of hate, as so many Californians suffer the sting of hate crimes, hate attacks, hate incidents, making sure that folks know that we're here in the California Attorney General's office to protect you, to support you. We're taking on big corporations when they scam or defraud or hurt Californians. We're making sure that our criminal justice system is fair and equitable and more compassionate. A lot of what I do, I see my role as being the people's attorney, fighting for everyday people, especially the most vulnerable and the voiceless, those who've been abused or hurt or harmed, and I balance the scales of justice for them, make sure that they know they have a champion. I make their fights my fights, and try to right wrongs.
You're the first Filipino and the second Asian American Attorney General for the state of California, so that's a noble mantle to wear. Do you think about it?
As a proud Filipino American, as someone who was born in the Philippines, came here, brought here when I was 2 months old, and the first Filipino American state legislator in the history of California, the first Filipino American Attorney General in the history of California. that's special. That's an honor.
Join the hike as Griffith Park celebrates 125 years. Participate in the latest Lawn Be Gone workshop or check out one man's journey to find a career in baking. All this up next on Things to Do.
Mark your calendar for Saturday, November 13th, when Griffith Park turns 125. Join the LA Conservancy and more than 24 LA organizations for a free park-wide exploration of Griffith Park. Learn about the significant structures, sites, and stories about Griffith Park's extraordinary history. Don't miss Griffith Park celebrating 125 years, happening Saturday, November 13th. You can find event updates and a free downloadable map at laconservancy.org/Griffith Park 125. Are you ready to get your hands dirty? Join the LA Department of Water and Power for one of their latest hands-on events. In the latest Lawn Be Gone workshop, learn about transforming your lawn into a gorgeous, sustainable landscape. These classes will teach you about removing turf without chemicals, sheet mulching for healthy soil, capturing rainwater, installing drip irrigation, and more. See firsthand how a front lawn is transformed and learn how to implement the same techniques at your own home. LADWP's Lawn Be Gone workshop, happening November 13th and 20th. You can register for the event by visiting their listing at eventbrite.com. The Los Angeles Public Library invites you to meet culinary author and pastry chef Robert Wemmischner as he muses on his odd career, trends in baking, and much more. In his new online lecture, Baking 101, My Roundabout Route to a Career, Wemmischner shares about how his lifelong love for tea, bread, and dessert put him on a path to a 50-plus year adventure, a career that would include teaching for 30 years at Los Angeles Trade Tech College and authoring 4 books. Wemmischner recounts his somewhat unorthodox journey in food and writing from 1970 through today. Be sure to check out Baking 101, My Roundabout Route to a Career. This online library event drops Saturday, November 13th, beginning at 10:30 a.m. To register to attend, visit their listing on Eventbrite. And that's a look at some things to do.
And that's it for this edition. I'm Natalia Bilbao, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thank you so much for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org, and we're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more LA This Week.
Good morning and welcome to the Los Angeles City Council. Today is Friday, November 5th. I'm Nuri Martinez, the President of the City Council. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Blumenfield. Councilmember Blumenfield. Present. Thank you. Councilmember Bonin. Absent. Councilmember Buscaino. Absent. Cedillo. Thank you. De Leon. Thank you. Harris Dawson. Thank you. Koretz. Thank you. Krikorian. Absent. Lee. Thank you. Martinez.
Present.
Thank you. O'Farrell. Thank you. Price. Thank you. Rahman. Absent. And Rodriguez. Thank you. 10 members present and a quorum, Madam President.
First order of business.
Approval of the minutes of November 3rd.
Ms. Rodriguez moves and Mr. Price seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. De Leon moves and Mr. Lee seconds. Next.
Madam President, would Council like to send all items forthwith today?
Without objection, that will be the order.
Items 1 through 2 are items noticed for public hearing. Items 3 through 17 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Without objection, those items are now before us. Members, you wish to call any of these items specials? Ms. Rodriguez?
I'd like to request that item 4 be continued a week.
Continued for a week?
Correct.
Madam Clerk, can you give me a date?
Yes, that would be Friday, November 12th.
All right, thank you. Any other specials, Mr. Blumenfield?
Item 10, I wanted to add 2 small amendments, 2 criteria to the RFP that's being circulated, but one is to have demonstrated experience working with the city on homeless engagement services and housing initiatives, and H, demonstrated experience initiating and facilitating community partnerships on homeless engagement services and housing efforts.
Who's your second, sir?
Second.
Second by Mr.
Yeah,
De Leon.
Mr. De Leon.
Ms. Rodriguez also said second, so.
Item 10.
Thank you. Any other members, any other specials? Mr. De Leon?
Madam President, I'd like to call items number 3, 5, as well as 11 for comments. Also, item number 10 for comments, as well as an amendment. And
You have an amendment for number 10?
For the amendment on item number 10, Madam President, I'd like to call item, I should say, number 10 for comments and an amendment. I believe the city attorney has the amendment right now to read that's circulating among the members right now.
Okay, let me just get this, hold on for just a second. You want to speak on items 3, 5, 10, and 11, and you have an amendment for number 10.
That is correct.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. City Attorney.
Sure. So for item 10, the amendment is to add the following. Instruct the Los Angeles Housing Department in coordination with the City Administrative Officer to report back in 30 days with a list of all privately owned properties in the city that are available for lease or sale that can be used for interim housing solutions now and turned into permanent housing at a later date, including but not limited to parking lots, office buildings, hotels, vacant lots, and multifamily residential properties. I would also move that this report evaluate properties based upon the order of magnitude, the beds they can provide, and the cost to buy or lease per bed, with the goal of not needing any city match or subsidy to purchase or lease the properties with the project home key funding.
Mr. De Leon, do you have a second? Second by Mr. Blumenfield. Any others, Mr. De Leon? Members, any other specials? Madam Clerk, which are the available items for us to vote on?
Council may vote on items 1 and 2.
Okay, let's open the roll on those items. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, Madam Clerk, let's move on to public comment.
Thank you, Madam President. And as indicated on the agenda, members of the public wishing to offer public comment should call 669-254-5252 and use meeting ID number 160-535-8466 and press pound. Press pound again when prompted for participant ID. Once admitted into the meeting, press *9 to request to speak.
And when it is your turn to speak, an automated Zoom voice will ask you to press *6 to unmute.
To members of the public calling in, when it's your turn to speak, please state which of the agenda items you'd like to speak on. You have 1 minute per item to speak, up to 3 minutes total, and if you wish, 1 minute for general public comment. Speak on the items before beginning general public comment. We'll tell you when your time's up. When speaking on the agenda items, you must be on topic. Our goal is to get through as many speakers as we can. If you're not on topic, or if we can't tell whether you're on topic, you'll get one brief warning from me or the president. At that point, if you don't immediately get clearly on topic or again stray off topic, you'll forfeit the rest of your speaking time when we'll move on to the next speaker. The items open for public comment are items 3 and 5 through 17. So that's 3 and 5 to 17. For members of the public telephoning in, as you were told, when it's your turn to speak, an automated Zoom voice will prompt you to press *6 to unmute yourself. If you don't do so, council staff will prompt you once more. At that point, if you don't immediately unmute yourself, you'll forfeit your speaking time and we'll move on to the next speaker. Finally, if you're telephoning in, we understand that you might be listening on other devices, computer or channel 35. Please keep one ear to the phone. There's a time delay between the live meeting and the broadcast, so we want you to hear right away when it's your turn to press *6. Also, because of the time delay and possible feedback, it really causes a great deal of confusion if you're listening on multiple devices. So as soon as it is your turn, please turn down the volume on those other devices right away. And with that, Madam President, we are ready to begin public.
Okay, let's go ahead and take the first speaker.
Please state your name and the items you'd like to speak on.
All items and general comment.
General comment, you have a minute. Please begin.
No, Mr. Faggot. All items and general public
You have 3
comment.
minutes for items 3 and 5 through 17, followed by a minute for general. So please begin.
Yeah. Yes. Can you read which items? What are the summaries here? I can't get my agenda up here today on my third phone. I'm looking for it, Mr. Cook. Okay. Well, let's see here. Item 14, is it available? Are you still there, humans?
Please begin, speaker.
Yes, I just wondered if you were there or falling asleep. Yes. So, in the interest of comity, I will go straight to general comment.
Okay, we'll take you to general comment.
Why isn't the caretaker of CD number 10? Why isn't that person allowed to vote? Greg Smith, the caretaker, he was allowed to vote. Or are you not letting CD 10's caretaker vote so you can take and tear apart CD 10 and break up Koreatown again? Is this another one of Nuri's pay-to-play schemes? Or are you going to let the goddamn fucking caretaker from CD 10 have a goddamn vote like you did with CD 12 and Greg Smith? Now I'm going to put Greg Smith on the phone.
Just let the FBI know I will testify under oath. Yes, I was given a right to vote, and I think Nuri Martinez might be cheating CD10 in a conspiracy to deprive CD10 voters of their redistricting rights under the United States Voting Rights Act.
Thank you, Greg Smith. Give CD10's caretaker the right of the...
Thank you. Next speaker.
Please state your name and the items you'd like to speak on.
Yeah, I'd like to speak on all items and general public comment, please.
Sure. So you have 3 minutes for items 3 and 5 to 17, followed by a minute for general. Please begin.
Okay, so let's start with the items 3 through 5. 3 new 4118 motions. Every single one of these 4118 motions is an admission of failure by this council, that you could not help those in need. And instead of even making the effort, you're banishing them from sight. A report just came out that there have been 1,300 unhoused deaths this year to date, more than all of last year with 2 months to go. Their deaths are on you, council members, your policy failures, your capitulation to depraved NIMBYs and HOAers, your insistence on overfunding LAPD have all contributed to mass death and suffering. Beyond the frequent FBI indictments for corruption, the only enduring legacy this council will have is that you perpetrated human rights abuses on a massive scale. 6 and 7, shady, untraceable donations laundered through the LAPF. Absolutely appalling that this council continues to approve these anonymous donations. But of course, Michael Moore actually runs the city. Any functioning city government would have fired him when LAPD blew up 27th Street, but instead you continue to funnel more and more resources to those goons. 8 and 9, more banishment, RV bans, absolutely shameful. This entire agenda is just giving money to cops and hiding unhoused people. It's appalling. Of course, number 9 is from Koretz, the Ed Buck enthusiast and defender. Who had his 4118 resolution yesterday, where he banished over 100 people and made zero effort to house those people. There was supposed to be a comprehensive effort to house unhoused people. That was part of your justification to pass the 4118 motion. You guys are just completely ignoring that. It was obviously all a lie from the jump. We know we don't have enough shelter or housing for these people, and you guys just don't care. You send someone out, an outreacher, they say, hey, we'll put you on a waiting list. And then that satisfies your ability to sweep them with 4118. Just a disgrace. All of you are disgraceful. General public comment.
Okay.
Councilmember Harris Dawson, as chair of the Plum Committee, I urge you to remove City Staffer B, John Lee, from the Plum Committee. You said it yourself. He was involved in the Vegas trip, money in walls, prostitution, gambling, comped meals, and then he tried to cover it all up by backdating checks. So if you guys are gonna get rid of Mark Ridley Thomas for something that happened before he was on the council, John Lee was actually a staffer on the council when that happened. He needs to go. He was involved in that indictment from the jump, and it was because of the Plum Committee that all that shit went down. Remove John Lee, City Staffer B, from the Plum Committee. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you, Speaker. Next speaker.
Please state your name and the items you'd like to speak on.
Herman, sir.
Which items do you want to speak on, Speaker?
Faggot, I want to speak on all items and general public comment, please.
You have 3 minutes for items 3, 5 through 17, followed by a minute for general. Please begin.
Thank you, you white nigger. I agree that 4118 motion through Ed Bucks, not like Joey Buckanis, but Ed Bucks, violates the banishing and deprivation of depriving the right to live in California, in the District of Los Angeles, criminals of corruption, Los Angeles. By the way, I heard Eric Faggot got COVID. Now let me go on to the next item, 6 and 7, Faggot. Approved donations. The largest criminal city on top of the gangsters of old Chicago want to approve donations? Are we retarded? The attorney there looks like he has cum on his head, should approve of this donations. After all, he's part of the scheme of conspiracy. And then what about 8 and 9? Am I still on topic, asshole?
Continue, Speaker. You're not at the moment. Go ahead.
8 and 9, asshole. RV giant ban? RV Giant, its sales are up due to the niggers sleeping on the sidewalks and streets. Don't we understand that? We need RV Giant. Yeah, the city of Downey just hired RV Giant to put up a new sign that says, keep all white nigger attorneys out of criminality, but we still got you there, asshole. Now for my general public comment. Thank God that Tom LaBonge is dead. We don't have to see his grandstand dumbass up there parading like a dumb nigger, especially a white nigger from up there in Los Feliz by Griffith Park. Did you hear about the great tree that fell on the cars, asshole? You should be doing your jobs up there. Protect people at events. Then we got, oh, wait. Pay to play, bitch. What are you doing, mommy? Caretake, not vote. Goddamn goat earlier made it very clear. Goddamn vote restricting rights. And you niggers think you're cool for that? I don't think so. Where's the big fat moo? Monica. Moo! Moo! Fat bitch. Next time you hang up on me during my general public comment.
Okay, he's
Next
done.
speaker.
Next speaker.
Please state your name and the items you'd like to speak on.
Hello, my name is Estella Suarez Hamilton. I'd like to speak on all available items and after general public comment, please.
Absolutely. So you have 3 minutes for items 3 and 5 to 17, followed by a minute for general public comment. Please begin.
Thank you. I wanted to start with item number 7, talking about donation. I appreciate that you guys are getting donations. That's cool. That saves money. But I would like the information where we can find where these donations are coming from so we could thank the donors for this generous donation. I would love that information to be more accessible because it took me a while to find. And I think that for the benefit of the public, you guys should be more transparent. Okay? Now, for item 5 and 4, I would like that time to quote the Bible fully, without interruption, as my Constitution protected right says I can. The rich young man, Mark 10 through 11. And when he was gone forth into the way, there came one running and kneeled to him and asked him, Good master, what shall I do that I may inherit eternal life? And Jesus said unto him, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. Thou knowest the commandment. Do not commit adultery, do not kill, do not steal, do not bear false witness, defraud not, honor thy father and mother. And he answered and said unto him, Master, all these I have observed from my youth. Then Jesus, beholding him, loved him, and said unto him, One thing thou lackest. Go thy way, sell whatever thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come, take up the cross, and follow me. And he was sad at that saying, and went away, grieved, for he had great possession. Now, you guys are banning public parks. You guys are banning spaces in front of shelters. Trust the science. People are dying. 3 to 4 homeless people a day are dying. Trust the science. The cold kills. Why do we have higher cold death, people dying from the cold, from hypothermia, from the elements, than in New York City, this city of Los Angeles? This is a Holocaust. This is a genocide of homeless people. And Hitler did this. The Nazis did this. It was called the antisocial laws. Those people were also put to death. Homeless people, Jewish people, transgender people, abnormal people, women. We the people demand a redress of these grievances, such as the anti-homeless zones and also the vaccine-proof ordinance. Both of those things are steps closer towards genocide. And my people, please, my people, listen. These people are killers. They do not care. They do not mind. And they don't want to hear anything that counters That's why they're allowing me to waste this time, right? They're letting me talk because there's people on the line who really want to speak, some homeless people who get 60 seconds maybe. I'm going to give them the rest of that time. God bless you guys. Have a good day.
Thank you, Speaker.
Please state your name and the items you wish to speak on.
My name is Michelle King, and I live in Kevin De Leon, District 14. Speaking on items to the general public comment.
So, Speaker, I'm having a little trouble hearing you. Which items did you ask to speak on?
Items 3, 5, and general public comment.
So you have 2 minutes for the items and a minute for general. Please begin.
As I mentioned, I live in District 14. My husband and I are disgusted that you're following these election campaign charades, Kevin. Criminalizing our neighbors experiencing homelessness only increases harm to our most vulnerable community members. And it diverts resources from the real solutions of providing services and achieving a human right to housing in LA. You and I both know this will only exacerbate the homelessness crisis. Experiencing homelessness is not a crime. Our most vulnerable neighbors need homes, not handcuffs. It's proven that the greatest stabilizer is housing. So the city should be working with grassroots groups and experts on a homes guarantee. I don't want my neighbors sleeping outside either. I have personally paid for hotel rooms and resources for my unhoused neighbors when the city offered what the city offered only empty promises. I alone cannot afford to help every neighbor. If I could, I would. So let's work toward actual solutions, not sweep them around the city after locking them up. It's fiscally irresponsible, not to mention inhumane. Stop allowing law enforcement to terrorize our houseless neighbors. Shame on you, Kevin De Leon. We do not want this in CD14. We want solutions, we want care, we want housing for our neighbors. You should all be ashamed of yourself. Over $2 million in signage that could be used for actual resources. I listened in on that meeting. You all confirmed that there's not even enough staff for this. You are not so unequipped. Stop this charade. Stop wasting our tax dollars and stop criminalizing our houseless neighbors. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Speaker.
Please state your name and the items you wish to speak on.
My name is Len Moses, and I would like to speak on all available items and general public comment.
Sure, Mr. Moses. So you have 3 minutes for items 3 and 5 to 17, followed by a minute for general public comment. Please begin.
Thank you, Mr. Favre. Good morning, public. Martinez, your incompetence is stratospheric, astronomical. You can't even start a meeting on time. You're just a disgrace to professionalism. 20 minutes of general public comment is a disgrace to democracy. You people are ridiculous. Apologize to Ms. Autry Martinez for your gross disrespect. Queen of homelessness, Krispy Kreme Queen of homelessness. I'm sorry, got your title wrong. Items number 4, of course. De Leon has 23 4118 locations criminalizing the homeless, which means all of you do, because you're all criminals to be part of this. Criminalize the homeless. You've apologized to the Japanese Americans for your atrocities. You apologized to the Native Americans for your atrocities. You've apologized, the whites have apologized for slavery for your atrocities. One day, we will look back, Americans will look back, and we will be sleazy, low dog, corrupt politicians will get up and excuse what's being, like you're doing now. We'll have to apologize for criminalizing and brutalizing homeless people. You people have no morals, no values. You pander to these rich bitches whining and complaining that little Johnny and little Susie saw a condom on the ground. But hey, what about Jeffrey Epstein, the billionaire? I knew he was dead as soon as Clinton's name and Bill Gates' name got involved in it. What about criminalizing that? You people are criminals to criminalize the homeless, and someday, when we become a civilized society, we're already the laughingstock of the planet. When we become a civilized society, some politician like anorexic weasel Farrell will get up and apologize for criminalizing and brutalizing the homeless, and at the same time, items 1, 2, and 7, giving astronomical monies to the police department. 8 and 9, Dawson, a little short, little round-head boy. Of course, he's getting in on the act too. Criminalize the homeless for parking. Correct? You're a dog. You're
You can go into general if you wish, Speaker.
Disgusting people. You throw in number 15, bridge to jobs program, a little something for the peons, so you don't look like total complete insane dogs. But you really say just let them eat cake. Well, we don't want to eat cake. The homeless, $2 million for signs. What about Dawson? Council file 18-0957. He tried to take the unemployment office for himself in the black community. Wouldn't that solve a little homelessness? He's building out a $500,000 luxury office right now on Crenshaw Boulevard. Council file 20-1122. Criminals, corrupt criminals. That's all you people are. We, the people, demand better. We want civilization, not this charade. Not the charade.
Thank you, Speaker.
Please state your name and the items you wish to speak on.
Yeah, my name is Stevie. I'm a resident in CD 13, and I am going to hand my phone over to one of the residents. Sorry, I want to speak on items 3 through 5, as well as general public comment.
Okay, so we'll give you 2 minutes for the items and a minute for general. Please begin.
Just to be clear, I'm in opposition of all of the 4118 sites, and would like council to hear directly from someone who's going to be affected, since you never take those perspectives into consideration.
Motion number 5 and 4118. I totally disagree with it. I've been homeless on this lot for about 3 or 4 years, but Don, the station, he's going to be 81 on the 9th. He's been here 9 years. I've been taking care of this lot for 8 years. A lot of hard work in it, and I just totally oppose of all this stuff. I disagree with everything. I don't feel it's right. Homeless people have rights too, and it shouldn't pass. None of them. You know, it shouldn't. None of it should pass. So, if you want to say it, you don't got my vote for it. It definitely should not pass. It's going to do more harm than good. It's going to hurt a lot of homeless people, and we are people too. We have feelings just like everybody else. We cry, we feel pain, all this. And as it is, people already belittle us enough, and they just feel they disrespect us and everything else, and they just think we're all messed up people. But truth be told, we're just as good as you guys are.
For any additional time that I have, I would just like to say that I stand. I mean, you don't, I think, understand how many people unpaid are working, both housed and unhoused, around the city to try to clean up the terrorism of what you're doing. You are displacing people with no plan. We have now, in press releases, used the word indoors as a goal. The goal is just to get people indoors. Who gives a fuck if that means that other people who were previously housed in PRK, which has been a massive failure, are then pushed out so that we can just shuffle the most vulnerable people in our city, around and around, remove them from contact with their service providers, their doctors, their community, their jobs, because yes, folks, people who are unhoused work. So I don't really have words. I continue to go out to sweeps in CD13 and in CD4. I know Nithya is not present today, but yes, we have sweeps in CD4 as well. And they are incredibly violent. You have people arrested, you have people who are terrorized, and then you have sanitation leaving without even cleaning the damn streets or emptying the fucking trash cans. We approved $2 million just to make signs to announce that it's illegal to be poor in all of these areas across LA. We have no solutions whatsoever except to pump money into law enforcement and into worthless shuffling around of people that does nothing to lead to permanent housing. It is absolutely, I say this every time I'm lucky enough to get onto a council call, but it is embarrassing that the city even has a reputation as progressive because we are a neoliberal terrorist police state. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Speaker. Next speaker.
Please state your name and the items you'd like to speak on.
Hi, my name is Adam Smith, and I'd like to speak on 3, 5, 8 in public comment.
So you have 3 minutes for items 3, 5, and 8, and then followed by a minute for general. Please begin.
All right, I'll be quicker than that. Thanks. Hey, KDL, you keep trying to rename Skid Row the historic core, but your actions call it terrorizing the disenfranchised poor. Paul Corretz, I'm thinking of my friend Miranda who died without a home, and Victor V. shot by LAPD bleeding out alone. Nuri, when you were younger, before your ascension to the throne, did you dream of killing neighbors because they lived too close to your home? Did you think you'd use that pen you wield on that pedestal of power to criminalize the poorest among us every day and every hour? Please think of a human being and picture that person in your mind. On what identity should their humanity be defined? You all got different talking points, but the impact's been the same. And with 4 a day dying, you should all be so ashamed. We know that Joe, the SLO, loves his LAPD, along with council member Krikorian, Blumenfield, and staffer B. Lady Emrod of the 7th Estate, it must be a lonesome chore, taking LAPD donations to advocate erasure of the poor. So please think of a human being, picture the person in your mind. On what identities should their humanity be defined? You all got different talking points, but the impact's been the same. And with 4 a day dying, you should all be so ashamed. Please think of a human being, picture the person in your mind. On what identities should their humanity be defined? You all got different talking points, but the impact's been the same. And with 4 a day dying, you should all be so ashamed. With almost 5 a day dying, you should all be so ashamed. Rest in peace, General Jeff.
Thank you, Speaker. Next speaker.
Good morning. This is Zeke Sandoval with PATH, speaking on items 5, 10, and 11.
Sure. So you have 3 minutes. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So regarding item 5, we continue to ask the council to invest in compassionate, consistent outreach through the outreach engagement framework and street engagement strategy. It is essential for our shared goal of ending homelessness that we maximize our focus on person-centered, trauma-informed services and housing and avoid counterproductive criminalization and displacement. Over our nearly 4 decades of operation, we have seen time and time again that outreach is most successful when we build trust and rapport with an individual to best meet their needs, not when staff are forced to hastily shuffle our most vulnerable neighbors out of sight. We again ask the council to slow the pace of 4118 resolutions so the street engagement strategy can be fully implemented without the threat of criminalization. Moving on to, can I go to item 11 and then on to 10? Let's take that as a yes. Okay, so going on to item 11, we're pleased to see the council invest in the kind of strategy or outreach teams that it's going to take to implement the outreach engagement framework and street engagement strategy. I will say, though, based on our nearly 4 decades of operation, we recommend the council act swiftly to commit more funding for these teams for at least a year. Not only does successful outreach take time, but the staff members who dedicate their careers to helping our unhoused neighbors deserve job security past the length currently cited in this motion. Moving on to item 10, we have seen firsthand the success of Project HomeKey's innovative model of rehabbing existing units into supportive homes for people experiencing homelessness. PATH has 6 HomeKey sites in operation or development across the state, with more on the way. We have found it to be one of the best methods for moving and keeping people off the street, especially during the ongoing pandemic. It's especially relevant to be considering solutions, considering the other items at council today. We look forward to working with all council offices and city staff to expand this successful model. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Speaker.
Please state your name and the items you'd like to speak on.
Okay, members, that concludes.
Calling on item.
Sorry, which item do you want to speak on?
Zachary Roma calling on item number 11 in general public comment, please.
Sure, so you have a minute for each. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Fauble. Good morning, council members. Zachary Warma with the Downtown Women's Center calling today to urge this body to fully fund and implement the approved streets engagement strategy. DWC has consistently spoken in favor of a trauma-informed outreach strategy that provides both services tailored to the needs of unsheltered Angelenos and real pathways to permanent housing. The incredible work LA Family Housing, PATH, and St. Joseph Center have done in concert with your offices demonstrated that given appropriate resources, personnel, and critically, timing to build trust with individuals, we can successfully engage and house unsheltered residents without resorting to criminalization or displacement. Currently, over 300 sites have been introduced for 4118 enforcement. It is impossible for LAHSA, service providers, and city departments to cover this scale of engagement, especially within the 30-day limit imposed by the CLA's protocols. Even attempting to fulfill these obligations will further strain a service provision system that has already been pushed to the brink by the COVID-19 pandemic. Item 11 must be amended to fully fund the proposed new positions and homeless engagement teams, as well as the existing homeless engagement teams, as recommended by the Outreach Engagement Framework. As written, the motion only provides funding for new positions and teams. On general public comment, we ask that the council direct the CLA to extend the outreach requirement to at least 90 days to allow WASA and the CAO to complete the steps outlined in the streets engagement strategy and to not allow voting on or enforcement of approved 4118 resolutions until robust outreach and engagement are completed and encampment residents have been linked with real steps towards permanent housing. Lastly, we ask that the amendments to the Outreach Engagement Framework authored by Council members Bonin and Rahman received a prompt vote from the Homelessness and Poverty Committee in order to ensure that the framework embodies the best practices of trauma-informed care, reduces the role of law enforcement, and maximizes the chances of an individual fully breaking their cycle of houselessness. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. And with that, that concludes public comment for today's meeting. Members, just go ahead and vote on the following items. Items 6 through 9 and items 12 through 17. Madam Clerk, please open the roll. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Let's move on to items 3 and 5. These were both called special by Mr. De Leon. Items 3 and 5, you called special, Mr. De Leon?
Thank you very much, Madam President, as well as colleagues. I want to take a moment to speak on these 2 items. I know that they're not popular with everyone in the city, and to those residents, I just want you to know that I hear each and every one of you. As we're working on the 41.18, we all heavily debated the practical implications as well as the philosophical components of this ordinance. On many parts we all agreed, and on some parts we simply did not agree. One thing I said time and time is that the only solution to homelessness is a clean, safe bed to go to at the end of the day. A place that not only allows you to sleep, but to rest, to get out of the uncertainty that over 41,000 men, women, and increasingly mothers, single mothers with children are feeling every night in our great city. It is not until you feel safe can you begin rebuilding and get ready for your own home, whether it's a permanent supportive unit or maybe it's a place where you and your friend have met at a tiny home village. Better yet, it's our hope that you have your own apartment. For the 6 locations that we are about to vote on in my district, I stand here before each and every one of you, and I can say in absolute full confidence that we are leading with a housing solution for everyone who is forced to sleep on the sidewalk in these very specific locations. My amazing team, and I really want to underscore amazing, especially Matthew Tenchavez, Sarah Flaherty, Adriana Velázquez, Julio Torres, y Susana Suzy Lopez, have been out in the community every day and every night, including weekends, over the past few months, and they have made contact with the following. 35 people at the intersection of 6th and Main Street, just right down the street. They were able to connect them with the LA Grand, which many of you also have been utilizing as well. In Boyle Heights, 23 people were identified in the area around Hollenbeck Park specifically. These community members were also connected to the room key at the LA Grand Hotel. In El Sereno, more than 100 people moved into 2 home key locations on Huntington Drive, giving people a home just steps away from where they were before on the Huntington Drive median. In Eagle Rock, 24 residents near 7500 block of Figueroa Street were moved into room key site. We are currently constructing a tiny home site on that same block, and the residents will have first choice once we have that site completed during construction, just perhaps in a few months. In Highland Park, 223 beds just opened off Arroyo Seco, the largest tiny home community in the country. Now, I want to thank my team for the work that they do every single day, engaging with the community and finding solutions. These are models I will continue to use across my district and feel that they could be duplicated across the city. I want to be very clear to the folks who are listening to us today. When we move folks, we don't move folks just to move folks. We move folks and we find the housing for them, whether it's temporary or permanent, combination thereof. Our overall goal ultimately is to find that permanent housing for them. But I believe strongly, as my team has been so committed, again, when we move folks through 41.18, we're moving them into housing. We're not just moving them and kicking that can down the road. So we can move them down the next block or to a different neighborhood or to a different district. We're providing the housing that's necessary. So with that, Madam President, it is for these reasons that I respectfully ask you, as well as our colleagues, for an aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. De Leon. Let's prepare to vote on items 3 and 5. Let's open the roll. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, let's move on to item number 10. There is 2 amendments to this item, and Mr. De Leon, you requested to speak on item number 10 as well.
Thank you very much, Madam President, once again, for bringing this to the full council with urgency. I also thank you, as Ms. Sol, and your team for the detailed report. I know we all agree that we need solutions as soon as possible, and the thought of having an additional 750 permanent supportive housing units in a very short time, without a doubt, is very appealing. Now, none of us can ignore the continued high costs of construction in the city of Los Angeles. We are a diverse community of over 4 million people that continues to grow. The growth of people needs to be matched by the production of housing units to keep families in their home they can afford and allow families to live in communities near each other. The cost is also seen in the production of affordable housing and permanent supportive housing across the city. I'm happy to see that the state is starting to help us by providing funding for us to secure property to assist our most vulnerable neighbors. Every day we have Angelenos dying while they wait for a housing solution. I know we all agree that permanent supportive housing, like the units you are proposing, are the best end result. Thankfully, a few years ago, the voters of LA were also agreed and passed HHH, and now we have over 10,000 units under construction. Add another 800 units from the first Home Key, with another 750 from Home Key 2.0. And I think we can say that finally we are on the pathway in the right direction in the city. In your report, it is mentioned by Matt Ansel and HCID that you would be open to adaptive reuse of warehouses or office space, but it was not envisioned the possibility of acquisition and conversion of these properties within the allocated time frame provided by the state. I think a good point is raised. As a city, we need to continue to look for innovative solutions that can get people off the street as quickly as possible. Cannot be waiting for the perfect to get in the way of the good. Perhaps Home Key is not the best model for acquisition of properties that can be quickly converted to temporary transitional housing with a long-term plan to construct more permanent and housing on those sites. However, as a body, as a legislative body, we do need to start having a conversation on how we continue to secure all types of properties so we can continue to match the numbers of permanent supportive housing units that we have already constructed in the last few years. For these reasons, Madam President, as well as colleagues, I have proposed the following amendment the City Attorney read into the record earlier. Nonetheless, I want to just very quickly reread them, which is instruct the Los Angeles Housing Department in coordination with the City Administrative Officer to report back in 30 days with a list of all privately owned properties in the city that are available for lease or sell that can be used for interim housing solutions now and turned into permanent housing at a later date, including but not limited to parking lots, office buildings, hotels, vacant lots, and multifamily residential properties. I would also move that this report evaluate properties based upon the order of magnitude, the beds they can provide, and the cost to buy or lease per bed, with the goal of not needing any city match or subsidy to purchase or lease the properties with Project Home Key funding. Madam President, I want to thank you very much for your sense of urgency of bringing this measure before us so we can vote. We have the amendments that I have provided. I thank you, colleagues. We all know that we can't let the perfect get in the way of the good. To me, it is equivalent of coming into the ER room and your arm is almost severed completely from your body. You're bleeding out. And the doctor says, also, by the way, you have stage 3 cancer. You're going to need radiation and chemotherapy. Got to do it, no question. But if you don't deal with my almost severed arm, I'm going to bleed out and I'm going to die in about 20 minutes. That's why we need to move folks quickly off the street so they can be safe. Last year alone, 1,383 individuals, unhoused community members, our neighbors, our friends, our loved ones lost their lives on the street. That's why the production of beds in the interim and the permanent is what we need to do. No more reports, enough. No more studies, enough. No more blue ribbon commissions, enough. Let's produce the beds to get folks off the street, and that's why I offer these amendments. Madam President, thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and vote on item number 10, members, as amended. Let's open the roll. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, let's move on to item 11. Also called special by Mr. De Leon for comments. 11.
Thank you very much, Madam President. This will be brief. Madam President, thank you for bringing this to the full council with urgency. I also want to thank the CAO and especially Patty Huber for this report. And as I spoke earlier on all the great work my team has done, I'm excited to see that we as a body, this legislative body, as well as a city, are building a program that allows us to be more hands-on, our own outreach team. It's what the residents of the city expect, and in many cases, they are actually already believe that we are doing today. I can say that components of this have already started in my district, and it's making a lasting impression. And I'm sure with your staff members, colleagues, and your outreach efforts in your own respective districts, you are also making a lasting impression with your own constituents. Now, I look forward to the accompanying reports regarding outreach and the conversations we will be having in homeless as well as poverty. With that, thank you very much, Madam President, as well as colleagues.
Thank you, Mr. De Leon, Ms. Rodriguez?
Thank you, Madam President. And while these teams are incredibly important to the work that we need to do for street engagement, we do have teams that are actively engaged in this work that sadly have not been contracted with continuity beyond the initial 6 months that was afforded to them in the budget. And so what I hope going forward, which will be addressed in the forthcoming reports from the CAO, is how we are going to address the existing teams and continuing their funding so that we can sustain this work. Because it is ongoing. I know in my district, they have been a critical part of how we have placed dozens upon dozens of individuals into housing. And I just want to make sure that we also remember that we have a set of teams right now that frankly have been left in limbo as a result of not having a commitment of sustained funding in the city's budget for their work. And it has been an impact, because when people don't have the certainty of knowing that they're going to have continued employment, they begin to look elsewhere. And so that is part of the challenges that are being placed upon LASA without having that commitment from this body to make sure that they have the funding in place. So while I appreciate this, I look forward to the continued conversation and to have these issues addressed in our budget.
Okay, members, let's prepare to vote on this item. Let's open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Madam Clerk, what's before us now?
Madam President, Council has motions for posting and referral. Motions will be posted on the City Clerk's website shortly after the meeting for the public's viewing. To subscribe to receive copies of today's council motions to your email, please visit clerk.lacity.org.
Okay, those are posted and referred. Members, are there any announcements? Mr. Koretz, do you have an announcement, sir? Any announcements? See none. Oh, Mr. Blumenfield, do you have an announcement?
Yes, announcement. 21st Annual Dia de los Muertos Family Festival in Canoga Park this Sunday, November 7th from 10 to 5 p.m. on Sherman Way between Topanga and Canoga. It's always a great event. Help sponsor it. Live music, vendors, classic car show, Aztec dancers. You've got arts and crafts and the altars, of course. So it's on Main Street, Canoga Park, .la. I urge everyone to come. It'll be great.
Thank you, Mr. Blumenfield. Mr. Harris-Dawson?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair and members. On tomorrow morning at Algin Sutton Park, we will launch the Play LA Youth Sports Launch Program. This is the program that will make many sports activities free of charge to the children of Los Angeles at our parks. Tomorrow morning, we were set to launch the program, and the mayor was supposed to announce, but he's tied up, so they'll have to settle for the councilman of the 8th District at Algin Sutton Park in the morning.
Thank you, Mr. Harris-Dawson. Mr. Koretz?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I do want to announce that this Sunday is the LA Marathon. Oh, yes. So, and that will have a slightly different route this year, and the finish line will be in Century City. So I'm proud to host
Are you running the LA Marathon?
Did I say I was running? No,
Just wondering.
I will be holding the ribbon for the first person to cross the finish line.
I love it.
That's a good job.
Thank you for the reminder, Mr. Koretz. Any other announcements, members? Can you see none? Can we all rise for adjourning motions? I will start on my right. Any adjourning motions? On my left, Mr. De Leon.
Thank you very much, Madam President, as well as colleagues. I rise in adjournment in memory of Antonia Yolanda Lopez Lasama, or also known as Yolanda Lopez, who passed away August 4th at the age of 78. She lived a happy life, dedicating herself to her only daughter, Wendy, and her 3 dogs and 2 cats, all which were rescued. Yolanda was born in Mexico City and was a devout Catholic. She was very involved in her church and a Eucharistic minister. Yolanda was a hard worker in every aspect and committed herself to a variety of passions. She was a creative and intellectual force dedicated to politics, jewelry making, animal rights, and human dignity. Yolanda Lopez was also a student at Loyola University, where she studied theology with her daughter. She was the owner of 2 jewelry brands. Her jewelry brand is based on Christianity, and the messaging of her brand was love, faith, and creation, which were her personal tenets. Now, she volunteered in many campaigns, including my own, taking the Metro bus late at night every single evening during my council race. 2 buses to get all the way up to Highland Park, and after 9 p.m. of calling every day, getting on that bus with her walker, getting back on a bus, going back home. I would tell my staff, please give her a ride home so she didn't have to take, that bus on her walker. There was no barriers in her determination to make a difference in our community. Yolanda was truly a Renaissance woman, not the woman we would view or perceive as that Renaissance woman because she was a Latina immigrant woman. But when you realize that this was a woman who got things done, unfortunately, in popular culture, they just don't view women like her through that lens. But that's who she was. And then folks like us bring up individuals like her, they'll never be viewed in popular culture as a true Renaissance woman. That's why we got to speak truth to power when we talk about individuals like Yolanda Lopez. She will be sorely missed, and may she rest in peace as well as power. Thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. De Leon. Mr. Blumenfield?
Thank you, colleagues. It's with a heavy heart today I rise to adjourn in the memory of Bruce Corwin. Bruce was an amazing guy and a friend to me for many years. He supported every one of my campaigns from the beginning, but I knew him before I was ever thinking of running for office. When I worked for Howard Berman, I first met Bruce. He was a friend to Howard, and they were talking about a number of things, but including moving a children's museum to the district there, which is in Ms. Rodriguez's district back then, and Bruce was really involved in it. That didn't get off the ground, but then years later, Discovery Cube, and Bruce kept his focus on that and helped move, basically create this new children's museum where my wife actually was the executive director, and all of us were friends, and we've had many dinners at Bruce and Tony's house, but the two of them worked very closely together on getting that museum up and running and making it the gem of the entire valley that it is. Bruce, as some of you know him, I'm sure a lot of you know him, he's very active in Democratic politics and has been for many years. His company started with the Broadway company, or Broadway Theater, downtown Los Angeles, and it grew to be the Metropolitan Theater Group, of which became quite a large company. He was an incredible businessman in that respect. His granddaughter wrote an appropriate piece about her in the Jewish Journal last year that not only told the story of her remarkable grandfather, but perfectly portrayed my experience. She said, quote, "Amid these challenging times, optimism, kindness, and empathy are always drawing people to one another and driving society forward. Bruce has always been a lighthouse, shining his light wherever he can support and encourage others." Which really, when I read that, that just speaks to who Bruce Corwin was. He was involved in so many different organizations and such an activist. His activism actually started or really grew in college, where he went to Wesleyan. And one of the things he did there, he refused to join different groups until they removed the fraternity, until they removed their Christian and white clauses that were restricting in those fraternities, and he was active on doing that. He later traveled to Baltimore, where he marched with Martin Luther King Jr. and was arrested at a participation in a lunch counter sit-in. In 1965, when Martin Luther King delivered a sermon at Temple Israel of Hollywood, Bruce was there. He belonged to 4 synagogues and served as the president of 2 of them. He was a beacon in Jewish life throughout Los Angeles as well, helping those to be bar mitzvahed, and we had talked about my son's bar mitzvah coming up. Anyway, the thing about Bruce, he treated everyone extremely well. He was hospitalized a couple of weeks back for a back problem, had pneumonia, and sadly he has passed. So he's a wonderful man, and may he rest in peace.
Ms. Rodriguez?
For those beautiful words about a humanitarian, a philanthropist, someone who has left an indelible mark in our city. I know Bruce, his passion for also helping to grow the next generation of leaders with his commitment and support to the Coro to the work of Coro, is just, is unprecedented. He has been there for so many of us, myself included. I know he has been a champion for many up-and-coming leaders, and I was devastated to learn of his loss. I know he's had health issues for some time, and it was a tragic reminder of how quickly we can lose some of our greatest pillars in our community. But God bless Bruce Corwin, Tony, everyone that, the entire Corwin family has been, their work is rooted in doing good for the people of Los Angeles and the people of this country, and I am forever grateful for knowing him, and I think we are all blessed to know him, and his legacy will continue, undoubtedly. I know his family is committed to social justice, and it's just it's a tragic loss for Los Angeles. May he rest in peace.
Thank you, Mr. Blumenfield. I got to know Bruce when he was working alongside Senator Padilla to ensure that the Discovery Cube was built in the Northeast San Fernando Valley, so I can attest to how much what his dedication meant, but particularly what it meant for the children of the Northeast San Fernando Valley. So with that, I would like to ask you that all members be added to this adjournment. Thank you very much. Mr. Cedillo?
Just to add my voice to that chorus, got to know Bruce in 1995. The county was facing job cuts of 17,500 jobs, the closure of hospitals, etc. And Bruce helped lead a coalition called Keep LA Working, and was the lead from the business community with the private sector to help save jobs for the county and help save the entire healthcare system. Ultimately, we did receive the federal bailout, as it's referred to, and transformed the system of healthcare delivery in this county. But he was the lead from the business community for that. He's a wonderful man, a wonderful human being, and a great loss for this region. Sorry for your loss.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. Any other members?
Many of us remember Jay Cortez, who was here. He was a protege of Bruce. Like, Bruce had some type of mentorship program, some type of fellowship program, and Jay was one of the recipients, and it was the reason why Jay was so active, involved in civic affairs, was because he was a fellow for Bruce Corwin.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. Any other adjourning motions, members? Seeing none, our meeting is adjourned.